This is KPRN-DB, broadcasting worldwide from southeast Oklahoma, USA, to parts unknown.
The new Be Prepared for Christmas package from Sun Ovens contains everything you need to harness the power of the sun for cooking, water, and dehydrating. The perfect gift for the preppers or outdoor enthusiast on your shopping list. A Sun Oven uses the sun's power to bake, boil, or steam food, heat water for purification or personal hygiene, or solar dehydrate. When you use the sun's power on sunny days, you preserve your fuel storage for rainy days. Sun-baked foods retain moisture, have less shrinkage, and do not burn. Sun-baked roasts are tastier and more succulent, and sun-baked bread has unparalleled taste and texture. The new Be Prepared for Christmas package lets you roast an 18-pound turkey. For the past 26 years, Sun Ovens has been proudly made in the U.S., are durable, and have a long life and come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. For a discount coupon, visit sunoven.com/podcast. That's sunoven.com/podcast.
Have you ever wanted to generate your own supply of electrical power, even save money on your electric bill? If so, this is going to be the most important message you will ever hear. Solar power generators are now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. Unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running quietly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, and even keep your food from spoiling. Whether it's hurricanes, ice storms, brownouts, or blackouts, you'll never suffer through painful power outages again. And here's the best news, a remarkable fall truckload sale going on right now that gets you $1,700 in bonuses when you buy a solar generator. To find out why solar generators are the best generators and get $1,700 for doing so, go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com. Generate your own supply of electricity. Go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com.
Feeling like there are too many pressures and demands on you? Losing sleep worrying about tests and schoolwork? Eating on the run because your schedule is just too busy? You may be under too much stress, and it may be affecting your mind. Get your mental edge back with Nootropic Mind Power from mindregard.com. Nootropic Mind Power is not a drug, but a natural supplement. Its 12 powerful ingredients are natural and non-GMO, plus it's gluten-free, wheat-free, and formulated by Americans for Americans by an NSF-certified laboratory. Nootropic Mind Power is available at mindregard.com, spelled MINDREGARD.com, and comes with a 100% money-back guarantee. Free your mind with Nootropic Mind Power Cognitive Supplement from mindregard.com. MindRegard. Clearly see tomorrow and yesterday. Today.
For starters, this is not Barack Obama. The Prepper Podcast Radio Network has started a drawing for a High Point 45 caliber handgun provided to them by MKS Supply. Now, I have the power to take that gun away from you because the United Nations has given me that power. I don't need Congress, and I don't need the Constitution. All I need is a reason to take away your weapons. So, if you're feeling lucky, go to prepperpodcast.com. That's PREPPERPODCAST, prepperpodcast.com, to see the rules, terms and conditions, and to enter the drawing. When I take away your guns, your Bibles might be next. Again, this is not Barack Obama.
The truth is out there. Knowledge is power. This is the Prepper Podcast Radio Network.
Coming to you from the foothills of the Sheep Mountain Range, under the watchful eye of Mount Charleston, 11,916 feet above the desert floor, I bring you Homestead Dividends, a podcast rooted in common sense and practical knowledge, where home improvement homesteading and self-reliance meet. where we say, stop working for your home, put your home to work for you. We promise you 4 things. I'll save you money, I'll save you time, I'll give you perspective, and I'll give you the support you need to do it yourself. I am your host, Dan V., regular guy with a family faith and a bunch of friends, you folks all out there. Today's episode is episode 162. You're actually getting this one out of order. You actually heard episode 162 the previous week if you're going in order as I'm doing these live. And just for a time reference here, this is about Christmas Eve. We're actually the 23rd of December, 2012, as this episode is coming out. I originally recorded something for episode 161, the same topic actually, but I just went in and I'm reworking it here a little bit. And in light of what happened in Connecticut, I preempted 161 for 162. You've probably heard me dealing with the issues of gun control, the senseless murder and slaughter of innocent children, and being a parent and a teacher. I'm just very upset by this whole thing. But at the same time, I realize the importance of our Constitution and how it should not be infringed upon. So it's a catch-22, and it's a tough issue. And if you want to hear someone wrestle with it, I recommend you go back and listen to episode 161. So I'm about as anti-rah gun rights and still be 100% pro-gun rights as you can possibly be, if that makes any sense. And yes, I am contradicting myself, and you can go ahead and listen to the episode if you want to get a better perspective on just how challenging this whole issue is to me. But in a nutshell, since I already brought it up, essentially some of the things that are mentioned in there, one, guns, the Founding Fathers didn't put them into our Constitution for hunters and for gun collectors. It was to protect ourselves from, enemies, foreign and domestic. And, our country was originally part of England, and we broke away. And England came back in 1812, and we had to fight them off again. And so we need to have guns to defend ourselves against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that's why I believe in guns. But the main reason why I have one is for self-defense. And that goes along with today's topic. And today's topic, conspiracy theories worth watching in 2013. And, I pride myself, I really do, on not being a conspiracy theorist or a tinfoil hatter. And I'm not. But I thought I'd have a little bit of fun here because, the end of a year, the beginning of a new year is always dealing with trends in the future. And they actually have scientists who study the future and trends and try and plot where we're going and measure how, we're getting there and all those kinds of interesting things. But, so I'm going to talk a little bit about conspiracy theories in a roundabout way. But really the basis of this episode is some troubling things down the road that really aren't conspiracy theories and you should be concerned about. First, let's start off with one that was, and that was the 2012 Mayan apocalypse. Oh, you're surprised I'm still here on Christmas Eve? The world didn't blow up? Well, if you really believed any of that, you were a fool. And there's a lot of hype in the media, and there were a lot of dumb people that believed this stuff. And I'm glad everyone's alive. And I never had a doubt. And I truly mean that. Because of my faith in what I believe as a Christian, I knew the world wasn't coming to an end. That doesn't mean I may not have died, but I know the world isn't coming to the end. And I know when it's coming. Before you stop my podcast and say, oh my God, this guy's wacko. No, just according to my faith, I believe I know when it ends, and then it's not a specific date. It's just, if you believe the Bible, you would say, well, these things all have to happen, and those things haven't happened, so I know we're not even close. So that's what I mean. I said, I do not know when the end of the world is coming. I know it's at least 1,000 years from now, if that makes any sense to you. Because all these things that would happen at the end times, okay, Christ comes back and has a 1,000-year rule on earth. So we're at least 1,000 years away from the end of the world. So I'm not too terribly worried about the doomsday scenario. I'm going to be long gone before the end of the world. That doesn't mean bad things couldn't happen. before then, but I'm just saying, that's just my way of saying, I'm strong in my faith, and I believe what I believe, and I knew this wasn't going to happen. But I have a little bit of fun with this, Tim. This is probably horrible of me as a Christian to make this joke, but I'm going to do it anyway, just to show I'm not, I guess, I still have work to do, maybe in my faith, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm glad that crazy nutjob, jumper, there's this guy in Arizona. Have you heard the story? He was this wacko rainbow hugger, new age weirdo. He was going to jump through some portal or some, door in space by jumping off of a butte. For those who don't know what a butte is, it's like a little mountain. Guy was going to just jump off of this ledge or this cliff to make things simple. And anyway, Sedona's a really cool place, beautiful red rocks, and people take tours of it, and they think it all has this magical energy. I've been to Sedona. You know what it looks like? A lot of red rocks and a lot of tourist t-shirt shops. I get no magical energy. There are no magical portals there. But you know what? If maybe people want to go there and chant with crystals and, whatever, have, tea therapy and do weird things, right? Chant, go smudge and do your, mantras or whatever and do your karma and whatever it is that you do. Great. So anyway, this nutjob was going to jump off. And then right before, and he had like a website, and he was collecting donations for, why you need a website and donations if you're going to jump through this portal and vanish? Or if it doesn't, materialize and die. I'm not sure why he was collecting money. But in any case, his website's down. His tail's between his legs. He's hiding because he did not jump. And then right before, he said, well, if I don't see the portal open, I'm not going to jump. And he said, I'm just going to jump off and the portal's going to open and I'm going to save the world and blah, 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 blah. And so I'm happy. He's alive. That's wonderful. But to me, it's just joking. And I say, that on the bad side, the nutjob was also a lawyer, and we still have one more lawyer on this earth. And sorry, lawyers, but, you guys are actually the best at telling lawyer jokes. I have friends who are attorneys, and you guys actually tell the best lawyer jokes. I'll tell you one more. It's not bad, but it's not nice either. A lawyer once told me, he said, what do you call 1,000 lawyers on the bottom of the ocean? I said, I don't know, what? He said, a good start. I said, that's terrible. He said, I know, I'm a lawyer. What do you want? That's the jokes people make about us. He told me another one. What's the difference between a dead rattlesnake and a dead lawyer in the middle of the road? He said, you'll see skid marks from stopping in front of the rattlesnake. I was like, okay. Well, anyway. And there's more than that, but I'll leave it there. So, and as I meet maybe some of my attorney friends over the holiday, maybe they'll have some more good lawyer jokes for me I can share. But anyway, so now on to the serious part of the show. And if you notice, I really skipped the introduction. I'll just tell you that I have a website, hdivs.com. Come visit me. Check me out. Connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, social media of your choice. Listen to my podcast. Subscribe to my service. Go to iTunes and just click on the link, and it'll take you to my site. You can click to my connect to my podcast. Click on the RSS feed, and you can get all my other updates too. I'm so glad that you spend time with me, and I hope that I give you something enjoyable. If I seem goofy and loopy today, it's having wrestled with this horrible thing in Connecticut, and then having bomb and gun threats at my school to end the week, and the stress with that, and my daughter at a school not far away. I guess I'm just a little goofy, and no, I haven't been drinking either. I'm just, I don't know, exhausted, grading too many papers and just giddy, and I just want to go light today. I've been heavy dealing with this and just dealing with heavy issues, and I just needed something a little bit lighter, and I hope you can deal with me today. But it's going to be fun, it's going to be interesting, and I want to talk about actually some serious things, but I'm not going to get too heavy today. One of the first things I want to talk to you guys about today is cars that spy on you, since we're talking about conspiracy theories worth watching. And this one isn't a joke. No, this isn't just a conspiracy theory. People in the past, well, people are going to know everywhere you go and what you do. And you know what? We're here. Now, granted, you have smartphones that spy on you, too, and know exactly where you are, and they can do this thing called ping, where they can find out where you are by looking at the cell towers and where it bounces off of, the signal or whatever. Because, remember, a radio is a two-way device. Or at least a talking, a radio that you speak into and can transmit. You have a transmitter and a receiver. So, they know where you are. But anyway, cars are doing that now. And the White House has proposed putting essentially what, like in airplanes, they have this thing called a black box, which is essentially a transponder and a recorder. And believe it or not, many cars already have these black boxes in. And they record information right before a crash or an incident, and they can tell how fast someone was going, whether or not seatbelts were on, bags were, the emergency, whether the airbags were deployed and all that different stuff. They're in cars right now, and they're thinking about making it mandatory. And it's kind of concerning. And another thing is, some people want to tie this in with the debt ceiling and kind of have one of those omnibus bills, one of those everything catch-all bills, and throw this in there. Okay? Well, one thing that's interesting is that some people see this as a way of enhancing revenue, or another way of saying that, tax. They'll tax you by the mile. Or, in some countries, you pay more to travel in densely populated areas during certain times. And so maybe we're going to go to tax by the mile. And I'm not really happy with that. I really want privacy in my car to talk to my wife and talk about important and private things. We're not planning anything evil. We do not plan on overthrowing the government. We're very happy with our government. We don't like our politicians, but we love our country and we love our republic. And if we don't like someone who's in the office of president or Congress or Senate, you know what? We vote them out. And then you know what? I'm done. You know what? I voted. I had my say. I'm done. People voted for whoever they voted for. Great. You know what? Not my problem now. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So, I have this thing where, I have to do the right thing, and then I can let things go. Maybe that's because I teach 180 kids every day, that I can only do so much, and then I have to say, I still care about you, and I love you, and I'm on you to do what you can. But, if you're constantly getting suspended or you get thrown in jail, at some point I got to say, good luck to you. We voted, and we're going down this path, and you know what? I made my statement, and I cast my vote. And it wasn't for either of the two parties, so I knew I wasn't going to win anyway. I don't care. I vote for the right person. And if enough people voted for the right person, you know what? He would win. But that's another story. So anyway, cars that can spy on you. Will this lead to telling on you? I'm guessing that it will. Will it lead to taxing you by the mile? I'm guessing it will. And I just make a comment here, kind of a snippy comment, because I wrote this before. I kind of went through the drama of the last couple of weeks and just the heartache. So, I was maybe making this a little bit more serious than it needed to be, because we didn't get our hearts torn out by such a sad time here in our country's history and this year. It says, I can tell you that this is a disgusting infringement on our personal privacy. Keep an eye on this one. And I do think it is one that warrants keeping an eye on. Another one, and all of these were written before episode 162. So if there's anything in here that looks like I'm being gratuitous, I'm not. I mean, this was already here. Obama wants to limit powers to raise the debt ceiling. Wants unlimited, excuse me. Let me say that again, okay? Again, I'm late. It's late, I'm giddy. Obama wants unlimited powers to raise the debt ceiling. And yeah, that's true. And he actually put forth legislation. It's a proposal. It's not an actual bill. But they float these things out to see what the reaction is. And the idea is, well, why do we need to ask for permission to raise the debt ceiling? This is really something that the White House, let's just raise the debt ceiling. Why do I have to go to Congress? Well, because the Constitution says that Congress does the spending. We don't have tyrants and despots. So it would be a bad idea for President Obama just to decide how much we can spend. Here's why it's really a bad idea that no one's talking about. I'm not really that smart, but here's why I'm smart, or at least on this issue I'm smart. Okay? If we're talking about raising taxes, why in the heck are we talking about raising the debt ceiling? Could it be that we are going to be raising taxes and not lowering the debt ceiling? We're not going to reduce the deficit? You mean we're just going to tax and spend more because we have more to spend? You mean our government really isn't going to try to fix the economy and isn't going to fix our debt and do anything with the debt ceiling? No! They never were. Think about this. Why does the President and the White House want us to have the power for unlimited raises to the debt ceiling if we're going to raise taxes and cut the deficit? Because we're not going to. He just wants more taxes to make this into communist Russia or China. And I realize that Russia is no longer a communist state. I get that, okay? And it was the Soviet Union. I get that, okay, before I get the email here, Dan stick to English. I got you. All right, I know. The point here is, this is not a socialist society. And our government was set up with 3 branches. And there were checks and balances. And making one branch so overwhelmingly powerful that it dwarfs the other 2 branches of the government is not a good idea. And giving someone unlimited power to raise a deficit when we already have too daggone much deficit and debt to begin with is just stupid. And if you're really raising taxes for the right reasons, then you should never even worry about raising the debt ceiling again. It should be immediately going downward. Oh, but we're not really interested in raising taxes to spend down the debt. No, we want to spend more. And then, of course, in Washington, and I don't know if you guys know this, I'm sure you guys are smart. You're plugged in. You're not the regular sheeple out there. When the Congress talks about the House and the Senate talk about cuts in our budget, they're not really talking about cuts. They're talking about reducing the amount of an increase. Anywhere else, when you talk about you have to cut your, cut bills or cut spending or cut this in your life, you know what? You're talking about an actual cut. Going from 100 down to 80 or 90 or 70 or 30 or whatever it is. But starting in a whole number, and I just picked 100 because it's a round number, and cutting backward. Okay? No, Congress looks at it this way. We're at 100. Let's go up to 140, but because we need to make cuts, we're only going to raise it to 120. That's to them a spending cut. These guys are freaking idiots. Okay? I love my country. I'm afraid of my government. They are morons. And they're very educated morons, but they are morons because you know what? They don't know how to balance a checkbook. You know what? That's their job, and to run our country, and they're running it into the ground. So I don't care how many Harvard degrees or law degrees or whatever it is that they have. You know what? They're idiots. You're doing a crappy job, and it is what it is. So Obama wanting unlimited powers to raise the debt ceiling, bad idea. Raising taxes to fix the debt, bad idea. Why? I tweeted this a little while ago. Why on earth would you raise taxes first and then debate whether or not what you're going to cut? In your family, do you decide just to, I don't know, spend more on something before you have a budget and know that you have all of your natural needs covered within a regular spending period? No. And sometimes we do, but that's foolish and irresponsible, and those people don't do that very long before they get in massive debt. Let me put it to you this way. Let's say you're dealing with someone who's an alcoholic. Do you give them more alcohol, and then after you've given them more alcohol, then talk to them about going into treatment or AA or rehab? Really? Our government they're a bunch of drunks, money drunks. Okay, they're addicted to money. And we're going to throw more money at them and then ask them later, after we give them the money, would you please consider spending less and take care of our debt? You have to be nuts. These people couldn't possibly do that. The only thing they're very good at is their own money. I always love this. Liberals tend to really be good at making money when they're in Washington and spending other people's money. I have a neighbor who worked in Hollywood who's retired. He's very successful. Anyway, he is very, very, very bleeding heart liberal. Just liberal, liberal, liberal. But you know what? When we hire people in our house to do work, and I do most of my work myself, but there are some jobs, and I'm the first one to tell you, folks, if there's something I can't do right, I'm not going to do it. And I'd rather that, and electricity and 220, I don't mess with 220. And so anyway, there's a couple of tradespeople that come by our place, and that was mostly when we first moved in, just to get some estimates on some things and a couple things mechanical and whatever that were beyond my ability. And maybe now I can do, but were beyond my ability at the time. He would, as soon as they were done in our house, he would run across the street, grab these guys, drag them over to his house, try and get an estimate, try and get that information of what we spent on the same job, and then try and nickel and dime them down, quite a bit. And it's very interesting, and this is kind of the analogy I use. He's very cool with raising taxes and spending other people's money, but he is so tight with his own money that, he's offended some of the people working for me. Like, you got to tell your neighbor, the creep, to stop bothering us. I can't feed my family, and I can't pay workers. I'm losing money on that job, the way he wants me to pay it. And so, isn't it interesting that I'm willing to pay people who work a fair wage to do work, but I'd rather not give money to the government where money is wasted because that's other people's money. Where it's my money, I will pay people for work, but and I will pay them fairly. But I don't like my money going to the government. He, is Mr. Liberal. When it's his money, when it's his money specifically, then he is just obnoxiously cheap and sinfully cheap. But, talking about the general, welfare of the country, just spend this and liberal that, blah, 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 blah. So I just find that hysterical that, when it's his own money, he's the miser, he's Ebenezer Scrooge. When it's other people's money, which includes his money, which these liberals don't get, then it's like, no big deal. Oh, come on, why don't you worry about the poor? You're darn right I do, and that's why I give to church, and that's why I give to certain charities, and that's why I do pay my taxes. And I pay them all. I don't cheat on my taxes, as I'm sure he does, because he's so darn cheap, and has really asked some of the people that come over to work on our house to do things not the right way. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I just find that funny. But yes, unlimited powers. Here's another one. The government has an internet kill switch. Yes, it's the best of my knowledge. There's an internet kill switch. The government wants to make it official. There's pending legislation. In some aspects, though, an internet kill switch already exists, and that was in the Communications Act of 1934. And in the Communications Act of 1934, it said that in certain times, the president or powers that be in our government can limit free speech in emergency times and, have control, seize control of the media. And that's a real law. It's not pending legislation. This is a real law. Happened in 1934, kind of dealing with things leading up to the war, and this is real. And so, I guess to make it more official or more relevant, they're talking about adding legislation now where they can officially have something in and of itself called the internet kill switch, but they don't even really need that since they have this power with the media. And I can only tell you that this is a horrible idea. When the government realizes it can no longer allow for the free speech of the internet to continue, then they'll do it. Then they'll, and I hope our government isn't that way, and I don't want to really get into conspiracy theories here, but it's not a conspiracy theory. It's already happened. It's the Communications Act of 1934. They can only let so much happen, and if it's in their best interest to stifle free speech, and the internet is free speech. And what I love about the internet is I don't have to listen to the communist news network, CNN, and all the other liberals and all the major lamestream media. Why do you think the internet's so popular? Because we can bypass those clowns who try and filter our news and bias it and turn it against, objectivity, because they're not objective. I mean, they're so in the bag for Obama. They're so in the bag for liberals. They're so in the bag for a godless, utopian society that is nothing like what I want. And anyone who's different from what they think is evil. So people who own guns are evil. People who go to church are evil. They really make fun. And a church, that has morals and says, well, you can do what you want, but, we are not going to marry gay people. Oh, my gosh, you're such horrible, backwards people. Listen, you can do what you want, but, churches and organizations have a right to live the way that they want. But, oh, my gosh, they just attack them and tear them down, and it just upsets me. And so, so I bypass them, and I try and get all my news, and I try and pass things on to you guys via the internet. And while that is here, great. And I will say this, though. Okay, so if you want the tinfoil hat stuff to come out, here we go. If and when that happens, and I will say probably eventually it will happen. I know I'm not meaning within the next year. I'm talking more like in the next 100 or 200 years. Who knows? Because, the average democracy lasts about 200 years. There's a great quote from de Tocqueville. You can open my quote section here about the average length of democracies and republics, and after some point, it essentially says they all collapse because when they realize they can just keep voting themselves goodies and not really doing what's right, then the republic or the democracy collapses, and that's essentially where we are now. But anyway, when that happens and the plug's pulled, That's pretty much the end of America as we know it. And I'm not saying that the end's coming. I'm not saying load guns and, prepare and, any of this crazy stuff. Not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if it ever happens that our government stifles the media and starts to control us and the internet goes away, or whatever the in media is that allows us to bypass the filter and allow real normal people to talk, America will no longer really be the America we love. And then another one that I have on here, it says, the government is coming for your guns. And I really don't want to go down this path. I've belabored this point. I've beat myself up over this point in the past. So I really don't want to go there today. But you guys know how I feel. Right or wrong, we have to defend the Second Amendment because the Second Amendment and the Founding Fathers are right. Why did they institute it? Not for gun collectors, not for hunters. Self-defense, but really self-defense in terms of the militia and citizen soldiers who can defend their country against tyrants or evil people. And remember that our government, when people are sworn into office, they are asked to hold that office and defend America and the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Okay, foreign and domestic. So there's an acknowledgement by all of our people sworn into office that there are enemies inside and outside of our country. And I take that seriously. And as a person who has firearms, that day could happen. It's not, I don't plan on it happening. I don't expect it to happen. I have handguns and hunting rifles, etc., because to defend myself. And, I have gone shooting a couple times, and I love clay pigeons and all that other stuff. That's absolutely amazing. I love doing that. I would love to go hunting, but that's not really my thing. And if you've heard my other podcasts, I have a natural fear of guns because I grew up in a family that didn't. But, I've overcome that fear, and I'm comfortable around them so much to hold them and use them. But if you want me to say that I'm a gun-loving person, that's to take it too far. Just like anyone that uses a tool, I believe guns have their place. And I respect them. We have them. I carry them. I carry them on me when appropriate. But no, an overriding love to the point of, being a little bit odd or different. Not to say everyone who loves guns is odd, but, for me, that would be odd. I would be odd if I were a gun lover. I'm a gun respecter, and I love the rights of people to defend themselves in the Republic. That's important to me. But anything else, that's taking it too far. Today's show is going to be short because we're coming up on the holiday break. In fact, Christmas is just around the corner. So those are some conspiracies and something fun for you to look for in 2013. And I'll just leave you with this. And once again, I'm dealing with guns here. I don't know why. If you're going to buy one in the next 4 years, buy it now. Just because probably legislation is pending that's going to make and infringe upon your rights. And since this is dealing with trends and things to look for in the future, and this last item was about, guns in there, beware, because they're coming for your guns. Or it's definitely infringe upon people's rights to purchase them in the near future. So I'd strongly recommend you go ahead, and if you're going to have a purchase it now. And that's all I would say. Back to the happy Dan that you know and love. Despite these last couple of weeks, and just the sadness and heavy heart that has definitely affected me and distracted me in my life and my family, it has been a good year. And you guys have a lot to do with it. My audience keeps growing, and I just have some wonderful people who participate in my show and email me personally or, like me on Facebook or, retweet something or say hi or however you guys are contacting me, and you do. I just think that's wonderful. And if you remember, I am a human being. If you want to hear something or you just want to ask a question, please do. I answer them immediately, and I'll get back to you. I can't thank you guys enough for making 2012 such a great year. I wish you guys a joyous and prosperous 2013. I wish you a Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah's already gone. And a Happy Kwanzaa. And any other holiday that is appropriate. But a joyous and prosperous 2013. And in my words and for my faith, I wish you all good night. May God bless you. Happy New Year.
Are you sick and tired of having your First Amendment harassed or censored on Facebook? Use no more, as we now have a new alternative to Facebook. It's called Awareness Act. Awareness Act is a social network designed for patriots, to be used by patriots, and is ran by patriots. Stand up and help in the fight to protect your constitutional rights. Patriots can create pages, blogs, videos, documents, articles, and so much more. We even have a unique news feed system that allows you to share, read, or connect with any patriot on Awareness Act. We are a dedicated tool for patriots to use against the tyranny our Constitution is facing. So if you're tired of having your rights infringed upon, come check us out at www.awarenessact.com. Again, that is www.awarenessact.com, the social network for patriots, not potatoes.
Whether you take me for the fool, I know that I can be. Whether you see me eye to eye.
The new Be Prepared for Christmas package from Sun Ovens contains everything you need to harness the power of the sun for cooking, water, and dehydrating. The perfect gift for the preppers or outdoor enthusiast on your shopping list. A sun oven uses the sun's power to bake, boil, or steam food, heat water for purification or personal hygiene, or solar dehydrate. When you use the sun's power on sunny days, you preserve your fuel storage for rainy days. Sun-baked foods retain moisture, have less shrinkage, and do not burn. Sun-baked roasts are tastier and more succulent, and sun-baked bread has unparalleled taste and texture. The new Be Prepared for Christmas package lets you roast an 18-pound turkey. For the past 26 years, Sun Ovens has been proudly made in the U.S., are durable, and have a long life and come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. For a discount coupon, visit sunoven.com/podcast. That's sunoven.com/podcast.
This is KPRN-DB, broadcasting worldwide from Southeast Oklahoma, USA to parts unknown.